This is the Sanlorenzo SL90A. Now there are two things to mention about this boat which are particularly interesting. The first is the quality, which is exquisite, but the other thing is the layout, because the layout on this is intriguing. They've done a really fantastic job of the packaging, and the first thing to mention is it has the asymmetric layout. That's what the A stands for in SL90A. What that means is there's no side deck on this side, it's only on the other side, and the reason they've done that is to create a really massive saloon area as you go inside, as you'll see in a minute. So we've got this area here in the cockpit first of all, but if we head forward, those are the steps up to the flybridge. There is a side deck which we'll see when we go around the decks in a little while, but this then is straight into the saloon. Now it's worth mentioning there are vast amount of choices in terms of, it's not just carpets and upholstery and that kind of thing, but the whole layout of this and the colour scheme. So this particular owner's gone for quite a dark ceiling to give it a really cosy sort of feel, and quite a dark carpet. If you wanted lighter ceiling, if you wanted a different layout, well then they'll do it for you. And what you find, of course, is normally this would be side deck, but this goes right out to the edge of the boat, and that just gives a massive amount of space. So you've got this dining area over on this side, massive seating area around here. It's one of those boats, it's hard to remember that you're on a 90-footer because it feels so much larger. There's a section on the outside that drops. That piece of bulkhead there moves out and lowers, so you can have that window to go right down to pretty much floor level. But then when it's back up in place, of course, you get the sleek lines of the boat, so that's pretty clever. The other thing to mention about this deck is that, unusual for a 90-foot boat, but this has got the owner's cabin on the main deck, which is a really nice feature. It's also got the raised pilot house. We'll see that in a moment as we go around. We're going to go past the day heads, that's in here. So that's on the main deck. A lot of super yacht features on this boat like that, and like the main deck owner's cabin. This is all storage over here on this side. And some of the electrical systems and breakers and so on are over in here. And then if we head on forward, this then is the main deck master cabin. And they've done a really clever job with the way they've integrated this, because you've actually got a fair bit of floor space. I have seen boats this sort of size of these before, and sometimes they get quite cramped, but on this, it feels really spacious. You've got little sort of a little storage area over here. You've got a dressing area. There's a TV that's actually built into the mirror, so you can't see it until you turn it on. There's also a side access door, so from here you can go straight out onto the side deck and forward. So if you want to use that as a private owner's area, then you can do. But what's clever is, as the boat comes forward and you've got accommodation under here that then finishes, they've used that. Obviously the deck head slopes downwards, but then they bring the steps down with it, and that means you can get a lot further into the bow, and that gives you this area, which is a very nice heads. I love the shower with this built-in light up the side just there. That looks really good. And that's a rainfall shower. And your toilet is in here as well. But then you can go forward again, drop down another couple of steps, and this is a walk-in wardrobe right the way across here. It's fantastic. So that opens like that, all illuminates as you open it. There we go, and you've got the same thing next to it. So really big storage area. These are super solid doors as well. There we go, this is exactly the same. Like so. So it is, as I mentioned, the packaging on here is brilliant. I think to get that into there on a lower level, so that as the deckhead comes down, you're dropping down with it, is really clever, and it just extends this whole main deck master a lot further than it would normally go. And features like that doorway out onto the side deck and forward, so you've got to use that as a private terrace if you want to. Very nice indeed. Let's head on back. We'll head down to the lower deck, and I'll show you the cabins down there. So this is a separate area for your guests or your family or whatever, other people that you're sharing the boat with. Now if we head forward, we will discover the VIP guest cabin. Again, lovely size. Like these big windows in here. We're down in Palma at the moment. Let's have a little look out and show you. In fact, I'll show you a bit better from outside the boat, of course, couldn't I? We'll look at that in a minute. I do like the fact that these open completely. Normally you just get a little section that opens. With these, you can undo these screw down tight so they're properly sealed. But you undo those and you can hinge those open, get lots of fresh air into here if you want to. Obviously there's blinds that drop down over these as well. It's a nice sized room. We've got wardrobe behind me just here. Really good size actually, look at that. And then bits of storage tucked away in places like that. And then the ensuite to this is over here. Let's close that one over for a minute. I must show you actually, look at the thickness of these doors. This is what I mean about it being a quality machine. It just feels so solid everywhere. And this then is the ensuite to this cabin. Now this has got a sliding door, so that slides out of here and across. And then you've got, of course, the sink and the toilet, but then the separate shower. Love the colour scheme in here. Let's do that again, there we go. That's got it. Again, rainfall shower. My phone bleeping away because I didn't put it on silent. There we go, let's kill that. Very nicely done, isn't it? Very nice. Okay, so that is the VIP guest cabin. And if we go back a little bit further, so back into this lobby area, through this massive, thick, like a bank vault door, isn't it? We've got two doors back here. These are pretty similar cabins. So what you have in here is a double again, and again you've got the hanging locker, so that's over on this side. I'll find a handle for it. There we go. That opens up like that. Again, really nice size. Some of the AV equipment is in there as well. And again, the televisions, they're all hidden. So it's in behind the mirror, you can't see it at all. But when you switch it on, of course, it just shines straight through that. It's rather neat. And if we go over to this side, then we'll find the ensuite. I love these little bedside tables as well. Look at these, they open up like that. All very lovely. Finishes on here generally, actually. Look at all this stuff along here. It's beautiful. And that takes us into the ensuite. So again, very generous size. And again, as you'd expect, separate rainfall shower. Somebody said to me, I think it's in America, they don't call them rainfall showers, they call them rain showers. And when you think about it, that does make an awful lot of sense. We've added a word just for the sake of it. So that's that cabin. Let's head across. I'll show you the other one as well. So back out into this lobby, spin on round into this one. As I mentioned, it's a very similar cabin. So hanging wardrobe there, hanging wardrobe, hanging locker, wardrobe, possibly not a hanging wardrobe, TV built in behind the mirror, and then just for completion, the ensuite. Let's try pushing rather than pulling, there we go. Love the marble in here, looks really good. Nice designer sink, bits of storage up and behind there, and again, the rainfall shower behind the glass door. Rain shower, rainfall, you know what I mean. It's beautiful, isn't it? I love this dark wood. I think it's walnut, I'm not certain, but it's a really rich colour. Fabulous. Okay, back to another of these bank vault doors. These have got these cunning catches so you can't see them at all, but when you close it, that sticks across. So we'll come back up these stairs. Now I'm sure I've seen stairs like this before in walnut with the lighting underneath. I wonder where I saw those. That's right, my house. And we will loop round this way because I want to find the pilot house for you. So it's a raised pilot house. Good morning. Here we go, crew area through there. Well, we'll come to that, of course. And then these steps up take us up to this raised pilot house. Here we go. So this is the captain's domain, really. You've got all the control screens across here, which annoyingly look like they're flashing. They're not really. But it takes you into lighting and all that kind of stuff. Actually, I won't fit all that too much because it just looks a bit irritating, doesn't it? And then you've got the usual controls, autopilot and thrusters and engine controls, big vertical wheel, all the usual things that you'd expect, and a rather lovely seat. And this is interesting because they've left this open here, straight back down into there. Now, obviously, if you preferred, you could have that covered over, or you could have a glass panel, you could have whatever you want. But it gives you sort of like almost a mezzanine feeling. That's that staircase we came up from the lower deck. It does make it feel very open. We've got a bit more storage at the back of here. No, we haven't. We've got more switch panels at the back here. There we go. I knew I'd find you some somewhere. And then from here, we've got the steps up, and we can go directly then up onto the flybridge. So there's a sliding door here, which of course is open at the minute. So this slides across to close that off. And there's another helm position here. Again, that big, beautiful wooden wheel. And again, all your instrumentation across here, or your screens I should say, engine controls, thrusters, all the usual bits and pieces, all the way across there, and a rather impressive view out across the front of the boat. There's more seating on this side. This is the size, you'd probably have a skipper for this, but you could owner operate it. It's within the 24 metre load line length. That's impressive, isn't it? It's got the Venetian blind style, I'm not sure if Venetian blind's quite the right thing, but these swivel, these sections here, so you can have them flat and closed, or they swivel up like that, or angle, so you can have it open as we've got it at the minute. And then there's a massive table. Again, this is all owner specification. If you wanted a smaller table or a folding table, then you could have it. Underneath this one is the ice maker and the wine cooler. And if we drop back a little bit further, this is giving us the sink and these two hot plates. There's a technical term for those. I can't think what it is. I want to say tabanaki, but I'm wrong. I know I am. Let me know in the comments. I'll figure this stuff out one day, won't I? Underneath here, this is pretty much all storage along here. Like so. And these I really like. So you've got these lovely sunbathing areas, but this is freestanding. So if you think, well, I don't want all sunbathing on that one, I want to have a nice area where we can sit and chat, well, then you can just simply move this. It's just a loose stool, if you'll pardon the expression, and you can drop that around wherever you want. So you can move that back a bit, put it in there, change that up however you like it. But they look really nice and inviting, don't they? And of course, you're right at the back of the boat, looking out over the sea when you're out at anchor. Fantastic. Then up above, you've got satellite communications domes, you've got the antennas, the radar, and everything's color coded. So it all looks really, really smart. Now, I mentioned it was asymmetric side decks. So we had the side deck on that side, but not on this side. What you have instead is access from here onto a raised side deck. So you can come out of here, we're now over the saloon where we came in, and we can step out and walk down then to the foredeck, which is not something you can normally do on a flybridge boat, of course. So that works really well. And then you've got the big windscreens for a start, but then this massive, massive sunbed. It's not often you see these where they're wider than they are long. That's huge. And then we can come right on down. So these steps take us down. And then there's this beautiful foredeck area. And this is what I was mentioning about, if, as an owner, if you wanted, you could have this as your private area. Or of course you can share it if you choose. But that doorway, which we'll pass in a minute directly from the owner's cabin, takes you straight out here. Lovely in the morning. You better come out here and have a little sit before you have to meet everybody and get on with your day. Welcome to Palma. What else have we got here? All the anchor handling kit is here, of course. You've got twin winches and the actual anchor lockers and a bit more deck gear stowage is down underneath here. So if I spin those the correct way, there we go. Let's put a little bit of weight on that one. That's it. I confused myself earlier because they spin in opposite directions to each other. There we go. So the anchor chain bins are in there, and also there's a load of storage down in behind as well, and these are the controls for the winches, neatly tucked away. So that is that. Let's drop that one back down and close those up. There we go. That looks like a height adjustable table. And now we'll carry on down this side. I'm going to show you the crew areas, so the galley and the crew cabins, and of course we'll take in the engine room as well. I should have mentioned as we came on, there's a garage on this one as well, right obviously at the aft end. I'll see if I can show you that right at the end, show you where it is, but it holds a 425, I think it is, tender. This is the doorway out from that owner's cabin. So this is what I mean about direct access from here, straight through and straight up. But if we go back a little bit further, there's another door here. This is going to take us into the galley area. So that is in through here. Now this is connected directly through to the saloon where we came in. So for dining, you've got really good access straight out through there. This, again, you can specify different size hobs. If you want a bigger hob, you can have it. You've got the big fridge freezers in here. You've got storage all the way around the top, the extractor fan, all the usual things you'd expect to find in a galley. Dishwasher in there, for example. And so forth. So that's your galley area. What you've also got here is access down to the crew cabin. So this makes quite a nice crew domain because they can come and go with direct access without having to go through the guest areas. But you've also got really good access to those as well. So we'll head down here. There are 2 crew cabins, both sleeping 2. So we'll loop around. The other thing that you find down here is laundry facilities. So just there you've got the washer and the dryer. There's a crew cabin in here. Let's find a light switch. There we go. So that's got the 2 beds in, as you can see. And then if we come across here, very similar deal over on this side. Again, find a light switch. There we go. Like so, there's wardrobes and things in here as well, of course. Like this is a crew area and it's in use, so I'm not going to show too much. Air conditioning controls are in here as well, more storage up there. And again, the big opening windows, which is nice. And then if we come forward, there's 2 heads down here for the crew. So this one on this side, which weirdly I can't find the light switch to, but there's a shower in there as well. There are lights, obviously, just me being a bit dim. And then exactly the same on this side. And the crew have happily left the lights on this one so we can see it properly. There we go. And again, the separate shower area in there. So that's really nice. 2 decent crew cabins, 2 decent crew heads. Lovely. And finally, right up here in the bow, there's actually a little crew mess area. As I say, for a 90-foot boat, it's really, really good. Again, separate air conditioning controls for this area. And you've also got access to the monitoring system. So this is showing the back of the boat, the camera pointing at the back of the boat. You can keep an eye on who's coming and going with that. And yeah, that's actually a TV in there as well. That's a lovely little area. Brilliant. Okay, let's spin on around. More to show you, which is engines. So we'll come back out past the laundry, loop around here. What's in here? Okay, just a huge storage area. Very good. What I think we will do, so there's 2 ways out, as I mentioned. You can go out onto this side deck and back. We will go this way, just so I can show the connection straight through to the dining area. So that's through here. Also, pilot house. So again, crew routing. Brilliant. Right, we'll come back out here. The engine room access is over on this side. I'm going to show you very briefly because I forgot to show you on the way in. This is where the garage is. As I say, take a Williams, I think it's a 425. That door just comes straight up and then the tender is on slides, so it slides out onto the platform and the platform lowers, and that's how you launch it. It also means, of course, once it's raised and in the garage, you could then lower that again and put like a jet ski or something else on there as well if you wanted to. Anyway, we're going to go this way. Look at this big rope handling gear here. It's all just so beautifully done, isn't it? And you've got the passerelle, of course, that retracts back in when it's not in use. Side access door, so alongside the dock you can step straight on and off there. And then this one takes us down to the engine room. So, spin around and down again. And here we're going to start to see some of the secrets of how they got so much space into this boat, because these engines are on V drives. So rather than having the engines canted that way, remember that's the back of the boat with the shafts going out and then the propellers, what they've done on this one is they've canted them that way and the shaft goes out there and then through a V drive and back underneath. If we go on around, you'll see that a little bit better. What that means is that the engines get positioned further back in the boat, and that allows a lot more space for accommodation forward. Of course, it does mean the engine room is perhaps a little bit tighter, but that's the compromise. Every extra sort of 6 inches you add into this, you lose 6 inches in the accommodation, and for most owners, they'd rather have it where they're living rather than down here where they're not going to go. But yeah, having said that, you've got full standing headroom in here. You can get right around these engines. It really isn't an issue. These are the V-drives, so you can see how the shaft from the engine comes out in this direction, goes into this gearbox here, and then comes back out there, and therefore the shafts run underneath the engines. With a conventional layout, that shaft would carry on up. The engine would therefore have to be up there, and that in this boat is cabins. Cunning, huh? Now these engines are 2,000 horsepower each, if I remember rightly. They're MTUs, and they're giving the boat a top speed not far short of 30 knots. It's about 28, 29 knots, I think, that sort of area, cruising therefore 24, 25. But what you can do with it is drop the speed right back, as ever the case, and get really good range on it. So 10 knots, you've got about 1,000 miles of range. Pick that speed up to 24, 25 knots, and because you're then lifting the boat up and out of the water to get that speed, you're more like sort of 300, 350 miles, something like that. So it just depends how you want to operate the boat. This is actually the garage back here. So that's in behind there, which is why the engineering areas for pumps and so forth are down underneath. We can see those down here. Like so. The other thing that we've got in here is generators. I think they're 35 kilowatts each. There's one over on that side, and if I spin around, there's one over on that side. Let's go right on round so I can show you just how accessible these are. There we go. So as I say, you can get to everything, but they have kept this area deliberately pretty compact. It's beautifully clean and well lit though, isn't it? Very good. Very nice indeed. So let's head back across here. We'll come back out of this area. There is an emergency exit as well, by the way. If we look up and move here, you can see there's a hatch there with steps that drop down. So that's a second route out of here. That takes you straight up into the cockpit. But we're going to go out the conventional way. Let's back up these steps. And what we'll do now is just to really complete the tour, I will show you anything we haven't seen. This is the direct access from here straight up to the flybridge. So I say, no side deck on this side. That's what gives us the space inside, but you can get forward this way on this side, up through here, and out and forward like so. But of course you have got the conventional side deck on that side as well. So that is it. I'm going to finish up on this lovely lounger back here. Looks like the show is open for business. And I think I will lean here on this rail and say massive thanks to Sanlorenzo UK for organising that tour. It's been a really interesting boat to have a look at. Let me know what you think of that one, and we'll look forward to catching you on another one of these real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.